being here. My name is Rob Arnold. I'm the executive director here at Poets House. It is an honor to be hosting this event this evening. I just want to mark a few things about this event. It is co-sponsored by Taylor & Co. And the Poetry Society of New York, so give it up for those folks. This amazing anthology, co-edited by Tova Green and Andrew Colarusso. We have it for sale. All the proceeds from both the anthology and this event will be donated to the Samir Project, a mutual aid organization providing direct humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza, and the Sudanese American Physicians Association. Amazing. So give it up for them as well. And I believe a couple of days ago, we had already raised $2,500. Now we've raised over $3K. So yeah, it's really amazing. Amazing for that. And again, something that we think a lot about here at Poets House, and I think in this community, is how much poetry is a celebration of the power of the art form. Sorry, let me just check my notes here. That enables change and support beyond our immediate communities. Anthology can be understood as an act of care and of visibility as it gathers and preserves voices and ideas that might remain inaccessible or forgotten. And Poets House, we stand in solidarity with organizations, poets, and publications that support people living under oppressive regimes. So again, thank you again for being here. I'm going to give things up to Tova, who is going to be the MC for the evening. Tova Green, everybody.
Oh, shoot. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. My friend Andrew is actually going to start us off tonight. Yeah, you. Oh, my goodness. Crazy. Wow.
Hi, everyone. It is a tremendous honor to be here with all of you, many of whom are incredible artists, poets who've contributed to this anthology, deeply humbled. And I want to acknowledge that today is a heavy day. We're here in observance of the Nakba. We're here in observance of a number of regime changes, fascism, things that have contributed to not just a state of oppression, but the limit case of human violence, right, which is genocide. And so we are marking that here and now. I want to give a shout out to Sarah Aziza, who could not be here. Talked with Sarah on the phone, and she expresses her condolences not being able to make it. As a Palestinian poet, today is an exceptionally heavy day for her, and for a lot of people who are feeling the weight, the full weight of this. I think we should just take a moment of silence, take a beat, take a deep breath. Thank you all. Lately, I've been feeling and thinking that liberation and love are not quite the same thing. I mean, in my mind, I like to conflate the two, but they're not. One can be well loved but not free, and one can be free but not loved at all, right? And so to experience the authentic conditions of liberation and love, one should have both of these things. And I think this anthology is evidence of efforts for both liberation and love, and moving collectively together for that. I also, while I'm here, want to give a quick shout out to my colleague, Tova Green. New Year's Day, or the day after New Year's, I can't remember, we were just kind of kvetching about the state of the world and why we both felt miserable. And so we came together with this idea, and so this could not have happened without Tova, this could not have happened without the Poetry Society of New York, this could not have happened without Poets House, this could not have happened without all of you being here, donating. Round of applause to each of you for donating, for being here. Truly, deeply grateful. Grateful as well to Radix Co-op for printing the book. I think it came out really beautifully. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Tova.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. It's so lovely to see your beautiful faces. Okay, so I'm here for logistics stuff. That's usually what I do in my day-to-day life. Okay, so tonight is not only a launch for I Feel Nothing Like Good, which is an amazing anthology that was printed by Radix. It is also a fundraiser for the Samir Project and SAPA, the Sudanese American Physicians Association. And I'm so happy to report that we have already raised over $3,000 for these organizations, which is amazing. But we want to raise so much more. Let's do it together. Okay, so upon entry, you should have received this handy dandy little letter. Ooh, ah, can I hear it? Ooh, ah. Thank you. I love audience participation. Okay. So if you turn to the back here, you will find 3 QR codes. One of them is to an artist-led silent auction. So basically what that means is that our incredible artists, for example, the iconic Mahogany L. Brown over here, have donated these wonderful packages that y'all can bid on. And all of the money will go to the Samir Project and SAPA. So please do. It will be open all night, and then we'll announce at the end of the night who has won. And then also upstairs, there are typewriter poets, tarot readers, and a honey vendor by a Palestinian honey maker, which is amazing. So there are going to be 5 blocks of readers. We're really ambitious tonight with 5-minute breaks in between. So in those 5-minute breaks, feel free to take a breath, unplug, and check out all the things up there. And if you get a typewriter poem, for example, and you donate, and then you get one. So that's how it works. Any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, feelings? Amazing. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to welcome our first reader. Let us give it up, everyone, for Lara Atala. Woo! Lara is a multidisciplinary artist and writer whose work probes the political dimensions of landscape and the futility and fluidity of borders. She's the author of the poetry collection Exit Sides on a Seaside Highway. Let's give it up for Lara!
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to Tova and Andrew for putting this event together and for putting this anthology together. There is no easy way to get through a day like today. Today marks the 78th commemoration of the Nakba. And we are 2.5 years, coming up on 3 years, of expanded genocide in Palestine and bleeding into Lebanon, with over 600 people killed in Lebanon despite a ceasefire. So I don't want to take up too much space, but just wanted to acknowledge these numbers before we get into it. And I will be reading my poem now, which is titled, Have You Ever Seen a World Belong to Itself Less? Ask me about the day, the violent mundane, its drudgery that kills you one lost year at a time, the house keys you keep losing in between stacked bills. Ask me about the phone you never answer. Do you even know who's calling? You run the list of groceries, stock your pantry with the past, displace a spice container to make room for rice, soak your chicken in oil from a martyred tree. The smoke in your kitchen billows, soft as a lullaby. Everything you make tastes like ash. Your mind builds a door and you lock yourself out. You return neither messages nor calls, but miss not a single headline. The horrors, a knife slicing through your sleep. In one nightmare, a soldier takes over your house, commands you to be his servant wife. You are to bake him tarts and feed him citrus, but above all else, you are to tell him he is a good man, and you are happy he is here, and you are to say it all with a smile, or else. Your mind locks messages and calls. You return not a single headline. A soldier builds a door. In one nightmare, you lock yourself out, and your face breaks into a smile until an ambulance outside wakes you. And here you are in your bed, the city a wolf heaving on your chest. Its crowds a sea of sameness calling out to you, asking, when are you? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura. You're just such a gorgeous reader. That was amazing. Okay, next up is one of my best friends in the world. This is Danielle Barrow. Everyone, please give a hand. Danielle Barrow is a Queens-born poet, educator, and filmmaker, a Fulbright scholar and Posse alum who co-founded a public school for foster youth. She's the author of the chapbook Sweet Queens. Everyone, please give it up for the wonderful, the iconic, the miraculous Danielle Barrow.
Stripping. When tents become a fire hoodie blazed to skin, embroidered to heaven, pushed by human hands from a hell to a hell, our imaginations to work. Ugly cry faces of the wicked, corpses have now mixed in with the living. There's rot waiting for the bus while eating bag after bag of plastic and rubber, fruit, hand over fist. Seems like more fists than hands lately. If wars were fought at corporate headquarters, there would be nothing to mourn. A cubicle, a cardigan, expired granola bar, unreturned emails, a phone ringing on fire. A child with dreams of dancing, calling mom still ringing to ask how to grow herbs and greens for their future children to taste. Hands in the earth. We become the soil, the seed to grow more, missiles and ammunition, fruits without seeds. Tears salting the dirt, stifling these military crops. We bury ourselves with no hopes of sprouting up. As an Aries, I only know flames, so the poems become ash, streaking down as cloud warnings into muddy puddle black swirl reminders. May all your babies have their heads, our souls sold separately.
Everyone give it up for Barrow. Thanks, y'all. Also, we have a couple chairs up here if people want to file in, but no pressure at all. If you like standing, that's incredible. Okay, next up we have Maya Gaddis. Everyone give a round of applause for Maya. Maya lives in Boston as a writer, artist, and librarian at the Boston Public Library, a Fulbright scholar and founder of Poetos. She's the author of A Little Queen and Love Letters to the World. Please welcome Maya. Yay!
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Tova. Thank you, Andrew. I'll read Homage to Thich Nhat Hanh. And Thich Nhat Hanh said, "I'm a continuation, like the rain is a continuation of the cloud." Continuation of the cloud, you rained in so many words. In an orchestra of the finest droplets, you taught us the art of how to be awake, how to fasten the doors of a heart open, how to let a cloud perch on the shoulder, how to move the body at an angle that would ready itself for water. You fell upon us in the lightest way, and we journeyed far to you to learn of stillness. We learned to be as a cloud might move in a walking meditation across the sky. We found ourselves as earthbound seeds, spacious and warmed by an abundant rain.
Thank you so much, Maya. All right, next up we have Yetvart Esmailjan, is a first-generation Armenian-American poet and great-grandchild to an orphan survivor of the Armenian Genocide. His debut collection, Survival Witness, was selected as a 2025 finalist by Wandering Ignis Press and Trio House Press. Please give it up for Yetvart, everybody.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Tova. What an incredible work. You know, I was really impacted by my maternal grandmother. She raised me, and I lost her about 5 months ago to pancreatic cancer. This is my first reading without her. I've been spending a lot of time unpacking the profundity of what she taught. One thing is that she taught me to light candles for our tragedies and for our ancestors. She taught me to light candles for the tragedies of others and to learn as much as possible. Without belaboring the point here, Armenians and Greeks and Assyrians have shared a long history with Palestinians, not only because we've coexisted and struggled together throughout history, but also because through the pockmarked history of genocide, we have endured the most eerily comparable tragedies. Not just in what happened and what happens, but also in the way that it ripples through the centuries. Just 2 weeks ago, Zoran Mamdani, the New York City mayor, was attacked by nationalist Turks and Azerbaijanis for helping to light the figurative candle of the Armenian genocide and mentioning the ethnic cleansing. That is something that we should all be aware of. And if you don't know about what he sort of endured because of that, you should look it up because it's so relevant to what we're doing today. 111 years ago, a genocide took place, and I won't be here, and we won't be here in 111 years. But certainly Israelis and Zionists will be trying to attack the memory of what's happening now. So it's in that spirit that I'd like to light a candle in memory, in solemn memory of Nakba, of the Nakba. In 1939, Adolf Hitler gave a speech, and he infamously said, "Who, after all, remembers the annihilation of the Armenians?" This was meant as a sort of perverse inspiration that, like the Ottomans before them, the Nazis may also invade and carry out a genocide. In 2014, the Palestinian poet Najwan Darwish wrote a poem called "Who Remembers the Armenians?" I'd want to read it to you. It's very short, but my poem is an after poem and a cyclical act of solidarity with this one. Who remembers the Armenians? I remember them, and I ride the nightmare bus with them each night. And my coffee this morning, I'm having it with them. You, murderer, who remembers you? And so my contribution, after Najwan Darwish, who will remember? I remember for myself and for you. Our caravans rattle on comparable sullen roads, our tarps now broadened by generations of weavers. I remember so that you will never need to, alone. My coffee, salted always with memory and sweet with presence, invites you. May our futures forget them whose being obliterates lives before they've begun, whose cross-hatched ways crochet tattered tapestries affixed on crooked hooks. I remember us as one another. And so, my grandmother's lesson, may we keep lighting these candles for ourselves, for one another. May we learn together about one another. Most of all, may we never let them turn out the light. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yavard. So much love for you. All right, the last poet of Block 1 is going to be, and please give a huge round of applause for Diane Xavier. Diane is a writer, educator, and storyteller working at the intersection of performance and poetry. She's the author of The Math of St. Felix, playwright of Bernarda's Daughters, and a 2023 NISCA/NIFA, that's funny to say, artist fellow in poetry. Please give a big round of applause for Diane.
Okay. Oh, I'm just gonna do it here. It's great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much to Andrew and Tova for the invitation to be part of this anthology. Thank you so much to the poets who I get to share this space with. Thank you all for being here. It's so lovely to see such a packed room for this event. I'm going to be very quick. I just wanted to say I have a dear friend, writer Dalia Taha, who lives in Ramallah, and we talk a lot, and we send each other messages over WhatsApp. And for 3 years, we have just been sending each other messages back and forth about how it's not a time for poetry. I mean, she's living through the genocide of her people. She worries every day about her family and whether or not any of them are going to see each other tomorrow. But instead of, because it's not a time for poetry, we've been just gossiping about our failed love affairs. And the other day she started texting me poems again, and I said, I think the poets are back. And she said, yes, I think the poets are back. And this morning I texted her that the poets are back and they're in pleather. So I'm wearing this skirt in Dahlia's honor. She would be very happy that I'm in a pleather skirt. Andrew, I'm thinking about what you said about the difference between love and liberation. And I feel profoundly loved in my life, like in a way that sometimes it just kind of breaks my heart open with gratitude. And because I'm so loved, I know that I am not free. And that is the agitation that makes me write, that makes me want to be a part of other people's liberatory struggles. And I I don't know. I'm just sort of sitting with that every day. Prayer for good bodies. How we've been taught not to name truth for ourselves is the longest lesson in unkindness. A trapped hiccup at the back of the throat. Why keep our tongues so cruel? What I've learned not to say is that my body is good at burying. My hustle will pay for the funeral. I will borrow more from Capital One while giving less to Chase. My meager savings will land in a cashier's check made out to the cemetery. I own this absence for 999 years. The land deed tells me so. What I've learned not to say is that my body is good at pretending it does not know the route you take toward your wood of disappearance. I had learned to stick the words to the roof of my mouth. This time, I let the words run loose. Graduate move. You walked away even faster, but left the light on for me at home.
I'm going to introduce a very good friend of mine, but more importantly, can you all hear me, by the way? Yeah? I'm going to introduce a very good friend of mine, but more importantly, an incredible poet. Micaela Camacho Tenreiro is a Venezuelan-American poet and dancer, an incredible dancer, whose work has appeared in American Poetry Review and been broadcast on NPR's Weekend Edition. They received a 2025 Individual Artist Fellowship from the New Jersey State Council in the Arts. Even though it's New Jersey, it's still, it's an honor, I think. But Micaela is one of the most incredible poets I have ever encountered, and they continue to inspire me every day. So round of applause for Micaela Camacho Tenreiro.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Something about me is that I never write quickly. My average rate for writing a poem is approximately 7 months. But in 2020, I was in workshop with Andrew, and he gave us the prompt of channeling an ancestor. And at the time, I was like, well, someone has to claim this guy. And I closed my eyes and I wrote. And this is pretty much like what that was. And so that is to say, if I am a good writer, it is because of you. Ancestor work in the voice of Cristobal Colon. I spend so much time looking at my hands, flipping them over before the fire, pages of a book I know by heart. I dream of the day they rot, when my fingers crunch off like leaves and beetles chew through palms. I was sure it had something to do with them, that they were particularly evil, exceptionally cursed. Now, it's a terrible hope of mine to have been somehow different, uniquely deranged. But nothing ever happens. They're just normal hands. They almost look like yours, don't they? When you hold them to the light, like so. Thank you. Also, I am reading tarot upstairs, so you should come find me.
Oh my God, incredible. So strange and so unhinged and so beautiful at the same time, thinking about Cristobal Colon, of all people, right? Incredible. Thank you, Michaela. Our next poet, Karen Shu, is a Chinese Muslim writer from North Carolina working at the intersection of poetry, public health, and social justice. She is a 2025 Brooklyn Poets Spring intern and current programming assistant. And the serendipity of how we met, so I run Taylor & Co. Books, and Karen came in with some pamphlets for some senior care programs I believe that she was promoting and working on. And I was like, yeah, old people. But I think this is how it happened. She's like, but you're a poet. And I don't know how we got there, but I did keep those pamphlets on the counter for quite a while, and people did take them. So, without further ado, Karen Shu.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you, Tova, as well. I wanted to start with a quote. Whoever of you sees an evil, let them change it with their hand, and if they're not able to do so, then let them change it with their tongue, and if they're not able to do so, then let them with their heart. And this is my attempt to change things with the tongue and the heart. Prompted prayer. The dissonance inside is searching for resolution, for guidance. What does this burning all mean? Ya Mujib, tell me, what am I supposed to make of it? Help me hold still, find peace and patience, sakina and sabr amidst the chaos. Ya Jabbar, I'm grasping at tawakkul, though it feels impossible. Show me that there is still hope and beauty. Show me that there is still good to hold on to, that being here has some semblance of meaning. Ya Hadi, tell me, where do I go from here? Tell me that I am writing this must be enough.
Thank you so much, Karen. How's everybody doing? Everyone all right? Give me a little shout. Woo woo! All right. It is my honor to introduce someone who doesn't really need an introduction, Dr. Mahogany Brown. Mahogany L. Brown is a New York Emmy, NAACP, and Audie finalist, a 2022 Kennedy Center Next 50 Fellow, and the inaugural Poet in Residence at Lincoln Center. Her collection, Chrome Valley, won the 2024 Patterson Poetry Prize, and I will never forget the first time I set eyes in person on Dr. Mahogany Brown. It was outside the New Eurekan. I was waiting in line, so excited, and Mahogany stepped outside, and the aura, I was just like, oh my God, that's Mahogany Brown. And I felt like she looked at me, but it was like one of those situations where you're at a concert and the artist kind of looks at you and you're like, oh my God. You know, but it, like, I'm sure she was looking at the tree behind me or something, you know. Mahogany Brown.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Tova. Look at your neighbor, say, hey, neighbor, we gonna get free. That's what this is. The gathering is a space of liberatory practices, but it's also a way in which we get free. I'd like to bring Hala Alian, a good friend, into the room. I was able to interview her, and this amazing quote will lead me into a mantra that I would like to leave you with today. She says, I want to receive grace. I also want to live in a world where that's true, where that's always possible. I don't want to live in a world where that's not there, so I'd rather construct that reality. Right? And I had a Vesper Martini earlier. Feeling good, you know? Had to take my glasses off. So the name of this is a list of mantras for when you forget who the fuck you be or how you outlast the empire. May my name outgrow the mouths that mispronounce it. May the echo of my no become a hymn for someone else's yes. May the aftermath of my silence learn how to sing. May my bruises become a blueprint for survival. May my bruises and aches teach architecture how to hold humanity. May every scar I possess become a letter written in defense of my light. May each breath be the rewritten terms of my existence. May my softness never apologize for its sharp memory. May I refuse to shrink in the rooms that forgot I built them. May every wound become a window to the divine. May my laughter leak through the cracks oppression built. May I remember I am not rebuilding, but reimagining the earth beneath my feet. May I remember I am of the earth. May I remember my own salt. May I never forget I am what love looks like when it refuses extinction. May I never forget my presence is what miracles become in daylight. May my joy be the loudest weapon I own. May I be so free that even fear grows jealous. May I never forget every step is sacred. May my grief not end me. May my grief lead me toward mercy. May grief and mercy intertwine and fortify my spine. May I remember to walk upright. May I remember I'm the daughter of those who refuse to die silently. May I hold, may I continue to hold the pen that writes my destiny. May my words break chains. May I never forget my silence be by choice. May I always know my brilliance is my birthright. May my heart remain a compass pointing towards liberation. May I learn the freedom step of joyful defiance. May I never forget I'm the mosaic of my ancestors' prayers, and every piece is a whole. May I remember my heartbeat has the rhythm of 1,000 drums. May I create space for healing. May I recover and hold gently the peace I seek. May love find me. May I love so loudly the ancestors stop whispering and start dancing. May I speak with the fire of my kin. May my truth burn down the plantation. May I never forget my existence be the revolution. May my tenderness outlast the empire.
Blessed. Thank you so much, Mahogany. All right. Robert Americo Esnard is an award-winning poet, originally and proudly from the Bronx. Woo woo! Let's give it up for the Bronx. Not as good as Brooklyn, but whatever. His work has appeared in Michigan Quarterly Review, Bat City Review, and The Offing, among others. Let's give it up for Bobby.
Thanks everyone for being here. I'm feeling really grateful. Mahogany Brown actually, when I was a junior in college, invited me to come perform at the Nuyo. It was the first time I ever read a poem at a venue that wasn't a college poetry slam. And I'm feeling very fortunate to feel these connections in the room. I really liked what Diane said earlier. Our poems are next to each other in the book, about this not feeling like a time for poetry or a time for poets. When the siege on Gaza began, I started sharing English translations of poems by Mahmoud Darwish every day, and I ran out of poems. It truly did not feel like a time for poetry. And I turned back to his work when I was trying to write something for this anthology. So the poem is called "Suffering is Not Figurative." The city is a flood, and all the rooms in all the homes know it. And all the doors in all the rooms close as the water seeps through the thresholds. And the desperation is in the carpet, and on the bedspread, and in the closet. But hope is through the window. Hope is a window. Hope is a fistful of glass and a foot on the earth. Hope is a neighbor's hand. Hope is a neighbor. Hope is in the street. for those who can't be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bobby. That was beautiful. It's incredible. This book, this collection, all of the people here have made me laugh and cry hysterically over the past few weeks. And having spent so much time with the poetry, seeing all of you here, it's this incredibly bittersweet thing. It's so incredible. Thank you, Bobby. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Bazid. Bazid is a multi-award-winning Egyptian immigrant playwright, poet, and performer living in Brooklyn. Give it up for Brooklyn. Their first play, Peace Camp Org, is published by Oberon Books and won them the Dramatists Guild Lanford Wilson Award in 2021. And if you got your hands on a copy of the book, you see Bazid's erasure poetry in there. And I had the good fortune of sort of working with it. And so to be able to hold Bazid's poetry in my own hands, in essence, to be able to shape it on the screen, I felt an intimate connection to it. So I feel very blessed and honored to introduce Bazid.
Thanks, everybody. It is so good to be here with you all. I see so many faces I didn't see before because this is a much better view, so it's nice to see some friends that I didn't know were already in the room. It has been a crazy making couple of years because to watch a genocide like from this close up and have it denied the entire time is crazy making, not on accident. Like it's meant to be crazy making. So thank you for a moment where we can have like some consensus reality in this room. Okay, I'm going to do a little salesmanship first because we are trying to raise some money. I'm a massage therapist when I'm not paying my bills with poetry. And I have a hour-long massage that's available up there. Hi, Sue. Oh, my God. Hi, Sue. Okay. That is upstairs, and you can bid on it. And I am a great massage therapist. Like, literally, I'm not even kidding. A poet wrote a poem about a massage you gave. So you should bid, put a lot of money on it. The starting bid is low, get it. It would happen in a plant and light-filled apartment in Brooklyn, and you could DJ the thing yourself, or I could DJ for you and make it probably nicer. Okay. I'm done with my salesman spiel. In October of 2023, I had a research trip scheduled to go to the University of Iowa and look at the archives at the Center for Book Arts there for a few days. And I met so many people who were like, Iowa, wherever we were, it's the blueberry, like everything's red, but this little spot where the college is blue. But like nothing, nobody was talking about anything. It was like full of just liberal silence. And so I'd like walk, this was like mid-October, right? And I'd walk, it was like a half hour's walk to the library every day. And I'd walk over and there would be like all these beautiful signs of like, in this house, we believe like nobody's a man and everybody's an immigrant and we love everyone and whatever. But like the birthright office at the university, no one's standing in front of it saying anything. So I felt crazy. And I was there for only a handful of days, and I found poetry and erasure poetry as a form for many, many reasons. One reason that it felt good for me to work in that form then is that I was like, okay, we can't just say nothing. We should be able to say the truth with anything and with any of the words that we have. The library had these like kiosks that you could print at random, like little pieces of literature, poetry, and prose on receipt paper that would just get insta-printed for you, and they were completely random. And so I was like, okay, every day I will just print out a poem, and whatever poem comes out, whatever piece of text comes out, that is what I will write these poems with. And I was there for 8 days, so I have 8 poems from those. I didn't pick what came out, I just made the poem. thank you to Tova and Andrew for including a few of these in here and for putting an entire anthology together in a post-email world. Like, I don't know how you did it. I never responded to you guys. I don't know what. I'm sure I wasn't the only one. Okay. And it's such a beautiful collection. These are my erasure concrete poems, so you can see this was like receipt paper that they scanned very beautifully and put it in here. So I'm going to read a couple of those from in here. Hope against hope. Before it ends with troops in the streets and the charred bones of buildings, the ruthless images quietly appear from the dark into an evanescent strip of sun. This next poem is called Vigilant. The face is 5 eyes wide in every crowd, impossible to unsee. The dead, the dream life, the yet to be, gazing at you from the other side of time. Those are my poems in the anthology. I'm going to end with one more found piece of poetry that I'm going to sing to you. It's not my melody. I don't remember whose melody it is. The line of poetry is from Tawfiq Zayed, who's a Palestinian poet, and it translates into, at my leisure, I pull a dark thread of light from night. على مهلي على مهلي أشد ضوء خيطا ريقا من ظلمة الليل. Thank you so much. Bid on my massage. Okay, thank you.
All right, my friends. So it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce Noelle Eugen. Noelle is a writer, translator, and musician from the California coast. Best coast? Mm-hmm. Who said yes? They paid me to say that, okay? Not true. A Best New Poets 2024 nominee, currently an MFA candidate at the University of Virginia. Her work has appeared in Sewanee Review, West Branch, and Diode, and she's currently working on some amazing translations. Let's give it up for Noelle.
Hello. Oh my God, sorry. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Tova. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for being here. I am teaching this semester for the first time ever, and something that kind of struck me at the beginning of the semester was one of my students. I polled my students on how they were feeling, and they said, all of the poetry you show us is very sad. And I remember thinking at the time that it kind of failed them, because I was like, what is sad about any of this? There's so much joy in this poetry. But I think also that was something that I had to sit with, and I wanted them to sit with, is that poetry contains both joy and grief, both of them at the same time. And so in the spirit of that, in the spirit of a poem that is both joyful but also makes me sad all the time, this one is about my grandmother. American Sinking. Should have heard, seen it, pulled her body from that river long ago, descended the current and fetched her from the hoard, Bible on her dress, Bible on her dresser, her ear a white washing machine, spinning to discard loose kindness, hell on my tongue, couldn't taste it yet, wanted to scream, minor scale of fury, Can't believe she would do this. Slow spiral into gospel. No vaccines, no sunscreen, no immigrant papers, just pure American passport. Charlie on her screen, Charlie in her ear, Charlie, her last and future lover. Lord of hosts and her host body, a river swimmer. She was the tide, always turning, was inside his arms so long, forgot her swimming lessons, cooking lessons, crying lessons, sank deep enough into each breath, trusted too few men, God, Amma, loved her hens, worship birds, she called them, angels in their architecture. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Noelle. I kind of feel bad because Noelle asked if she could read a different poem, not the one in the anthology, but I think I guilted her into reading the one in the anthology, which, I mean, we're all lucky to have heard. I'm excited to introduce Isabel Cruz. Isabel is a Puerto Rican poet and emeritus youth poetry ambassador for the Patterson Poetry Festival. Shout out New Jersey. A 2024 Dodge Poetry Festival featured poet. She is a 2025 Brooklyn Poets Fellow. Give it up for my sis, Isabel.
Thank you, Tova, and thank you, Andrew, for having me, and thank you, Roque, for introducing me to Andrew, or I wouldn't be here today. I'm going to read my short little sonnet. This was a meditation on Marcellus Williams' execution, and also the reception his poetry got online and some of the negative feedback that his poems inspired about how simple the language was. So I really wanted to dive in and write something with simpler language and, fuck everybody with a Greek statue profile picture on Twitter that has something to say about it. So this sonnet won't bring the poet back. For Marcellus Williams, for Rifat Al-Arir, and for Hossam Shabbat. Tonight, they have put the poet to death. In Missouri, in Palestine, in Lebanon, they have put the poet to death before she was born, before his first poem, before small fingers had a chance to encircle a pencil. They have put the poet to death on his way home from the convenience store, on his way to school, on the corner, on the subway platform, at her high school graduation. Tonight, they have put the poet to death by lethal injection, by drone strike, by chokehold. Tonight, with our money, with our weapons, with our blessing. Poem.
Such a powerful poem to confront our own complicity in what is happening is always painful but necessary work, right? And to what degree is the blood on our hands? And so thank you for that, Isabel. Very excited to introduce Shame Ali Naim, who I just met for the first time today. And I get a sense of Sham's beauty and intensity at the same time. It's nice to meet you finally. Shame Ali Naim is an interdisciplinary poet, artist, sound practitioner, screenwriter. She's the author of City of Pearls and screenwriter for Sunil Sanskiri's, did I pronounce correctly? Sunil Sanskiri's award-winning film Two Refusals. Would we recognize ourselves unbroken? Shout out to Shame Ali Naim.
Hello. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Tova, and thank you to all the poets that fill this book, and thank you to everybody that are here tonight. I'm just reading a short piece that I actually wrote a long time ago, I believe in 2020, titled Again. Genocide is spelled like spectacle, an empty word filled with spectators. The world watches, says never again, asks, how did we allow this? Looks on. Will later put up an empty monument over the hurting ground. Thank you.
All right, it's my great pleasure to introduce Aida Bardisi. Aida is a poet and PhD student of Middle East Studies at NYU, examining films of the Nasser era as an inquiry into racial ecology. Ooh, okay. Oh, yeah, I was afraid I was gonna do that earlier, lean on the. I'm gonna just keep going for now. Racial Ecology, Blackness, and Indigeneity, a 2026 Pushcart nominee. Her work appears in Anomaly, Apogee, Misna. And I want to give a special shout out and thank you to both Aida and Lara for replying to me at 1 a.m. when I'm like, is the Arabic on this correct? Shout out to both of y'all for just, yeah. Aida Bardisi.
Thank you. First of all, as I mentioned, my Arabic is shoddy because I'm a diaspora child, so many asterisks around any help I provide. Thank you to Andrew and Tova again. I hope you continuously hear this throughout the night. The poem that I'm reading today is one that I wrote well before 2023, October 2023. It is an artifact of love, an artifact of friendship. And I don't typically do this, but I will tonight. I'm going to sort of leave room for translation before I start, because I do actually want to be legible for once. The poem is called Ya Rafi'i, which means "O comrade." And there's two lines. The one line that says "sell fruits for Tunis," which is a reference to Mohammed Bouazizi, who was the fruit vendor who self-immolated in Tunisia and is said to have started the Arab uprisings. I also prefer not to call it the Arab Spring, but we can talk about that later because that's a whole lecture. And then the second line is turning life into wheat for Sohag. My ancestors are from Sohag, which is in the south of Egypt or Upper Egypt. It's somewhat close to Aswan, which is the site of my study and the site of my great concern. So before I start, I want to sort of name the fact that these struggles, Egypt's domination or the Egyptian state's domination onto its people, the question of failure of the Arab uprisings, the genocide in Sudan, the United Arab Emirates and the Zionist entity as both sides of the same coin, they're all in conversation just like we are today. So anyways, Ya Rafi'i. Your love demands me to rebel, so I throw rocks at soldiers, spit in a policeman's face, sell fruits for Tunis, would turn life into wheat for Sohag. I take my shoes off at the door of your chest, will feed everyone on the block with my dimple. I build a minaret beside your bed. I want to live, ya Allah, how I want to live. I riot because everyone deserves to live in this world as I do, loved into action, the revolution at our doorstep, in the subway stop, in gentrified Bushwick, in your sheets. I commit to you a lifetime of undoing. I anoint you with oud and wine. I tuck liberation behind your back teeth. Together, We language the third world, a new frontier, a future that contains all other futures. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aida. That's such a beautiful, profound reminder of this intersection of liberation and love, right? So powerful. All right, and now we have Adiba Shahid Talukder. Adiba Shahid Talukder is a Pakistani and Bengali American poet, vocalist, and translator. She's the author of Shar-e-Janan, The City of the Beloved, winner of the Kundiman Poetry Prize, and currently trains in Hindustani classical ghazal performance. And now, I've never had the pleasure of hearing Adiba sing. I'm not trying to put Adiba on the spot, but I'm not doing that either. So let's give a very encouraging round of applause for Adiba.
I can't sing, I'm sorry. I wrote this poem in spring of 2024. It was after I'd spent a couple of months working with this university trying to get a number of girls out of Gaza. This ultimately failed, and it was very, very eye-opening and surprising why it did. It was due to the ultimate inaction of various organizations, as well as the complete unwillingness of the surrounding countries to let the girls pass. So this is for a friend I made. Her name is Aya. Protest. Each night is a night of slaughter. In the shadows, children dress in tatters, parched, glass-eyed, children whose homes are ash, children plastered in cement and blood. The world doesn't care about us, you say. You've gone from displacement to displacement, searching for life, for rest, yet at 5 every evening, the bombing starts again. And I want to say, look, our streets are alive. Banners flare and drums beat and quicken like hearts. Night after night, Aya, the world is a sea chanting, Gaza, Gaza, Gaza. But what do I say beyond this? Aya, I never wanted to write your name in a poem. Aya, I wanted you to be eternal. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to be finishing off tonight, so it's so lovely. Thank you. Thank you for everyone for being here. All right, I am so thrilled, so honored to recognize the next person. This is, I think, a future poet laureate. I'm absolutely obsessed with her. This is Willow Randall, everyone. Willow is a trans poet living in New York, studying the poetics of pair at NYU Gallatin, and is the virtual programs coordinator at the Poetry Society of New York. Oh my God! She believes language can become a portal through which to care for one another. Let's give it up for the incomparable Willow Randall.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Tova. And where's Andrew? In there. Okay, gorgeous. Thank you guys so much for your work and your care and just everything you guys make possible. I'm very grateful. As I was getting ready to read tonight, I was thinking about these words I carry with me when I write from the poet Solmaz Sharif. In this essay she wrote called A Poetry of Proximity, where she says, the caretakers for language, the poets, their role, the caretaking for language is to keep language from calcifying. And I'm thinking a lot about what it means to write and to speak, to resist in these times of genocide and violence and displacement. And I'm thinking about the way language sustains us. I'm thinking about the poets in this book, in this room, the non-poets, the movers, the thinkers, the artists, the beloveds, the strangers, and I'm thinking of the way we all practice forms of taking care of our own language and each other's language in these times where language is under attack. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your caretaking. The poem I'm reading is my poem in the anthology called Empire with No Logical Implication, and it has an epigraph from Mahmoud Darwish from one of the last books he wrote before he died called In the Presence of Absence, where he says, love shifts, transforms, and is impervious to identification. If the pen is an extension of the flesh, if the flesh is a citizen of taxation, if the citizens are arbitrarily born unto borders, if the borders of borders is a concentric grave, if the gravity of a situation is a collective untethering from dirt, if the dirt holds memory in the shape of the subjunctive, if the subjection of a people is a prerequisite to empire, if genocide and ecocide are empirically evidenced, if the evidence must come from the institutions, if the institutions are diagnostically insane, if insanity is a weapon of incarceration, if incantations of betterness live in our bodies, if embodied knowledge is a harbinger for tears, if tears are an offering, if often we are offering ourselves to a world of affective necrosis, if the necropastoral is an olive tree burned and uprooted from place, if place is an agreed upon dislocation, if none of this was agreed upon, if on and on we gather and howl and then disband into carelessness, if caress is a way of becoming witness to the ache of limbs, if limerence is an infatuation with homeland and soil and the riot of rot, if roots are an accomplice to liberation, if this violence conditions more violence, if violated treaties and laws and philosophical balderdash have no say here, if here is a wellspring for there, if then and there is arrived at only by becoming kindred with strangers, if strangers are who we love, if love is contraband in hell, if hell exists in a present spun by our own filthy hands, if the future is spun by these same filthy hands, if a hand in a hand is a sum, if summation is our munition, if we are growing more unruly and ungovernable and unkept, if we are growing into each other more beautiful and insoluble by the second, if the seconds in a minute and an hour are a container for disruption, if the eruption of togetherness is a threat to profit, if our bodies, unfixing and wild and perverse, are a threat to the regime, then let us fuse hips and knuckles, pen and flesh and soul. Let the consequent of this implication be a declaration and a promise. No.
Everyone, please give it up so much louder for the wonderful Willow Randall. Absolutely phenomenal. The first time I read that poem, I cried, but I am also a Libra, so I do cry a lot. Okay, next up on the docket, we have Liza Huddock. Everybody, please give Liza a huge round of applause. Liza lives in Detroit and is a veteran of the U.S. Coast Guard. Her debut collection, Rayville, was published by Flood Editions in 2025. Please welcome Liza.
Milkweed. Burst through the hedge to find the meadow proved inviolate. Cords of seagrass, skirts of spinning, falling floss, wind through the meadow after years of roaring hold and harrowed prow. Those years are ours now. Wheatberries droop a continent to split between each thumb and finger. If we are to speak of time under the mantle, it will happen in a single breath. The birches are creaking in the sweetest breeze. And when we fail to count the folds we ran among, they will be summed up by the shortest sentences of the biggest books we ever held. Drop stripped, Jesus wept. What more is there to say? The ark is groaning. A chirping multiplies the tightly battened dark. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liza. Something I wrote in the afterword to this book is I'm fascinated by how, like, inadvertently all of these poems are talking to each other, and I think it's really fascinating to see that I believe the title of Johnny Techlett's work is something about Jesus wept. It's just very, whoa, the connections are crazy. It's really wonderful what happens when we all come together in community. I am so thrilled to welcome the next poet. This is the simply iconic Anna Genevieve Wynnum. Everyone give it up for Anna. Anna is an award-winning writer of poetry, essays, and short stories. She's the major gifts officer at Grey Wolf Press and the former development director and on the board of the Poetry Society of New York. Please welcome Anna.
In A Litany for Survival, Audre Lorde talks about how when we are silent, we're afraid. But when we speak, we are still afraid. So it's better to speak knowing that either way we will feel fear. And I think in the past few years especially, there's been such a culture of enforced silence. And I feel that if I am afraid to speak, as an Anglo-American, it must take such huge courage for other people to speak. And that when we speak collectively, it makes all of us safer. And I think that is the power of this anthology also, is that there are so many voices going on record. And I think that's really why I wanted to be in it and why I'm honored to be in it and why I feel so honored to be with all of you today. And everyone who's spoken has said such powerful words, and I will add my piece. Seasons of Empire. 1. The logger who perfects his swing in foreign forests, learning to sharpen and rebalance his axe, who turns his chainsaw to tree after tree, floats their bloated corpses downriver like so many salmon, unnatural, reversed, and invents the sawmill to turn this lead into gold 3,000 miles away, will not hesitate, we have seen time and again, in the woods of his own childhood. His own child's rumbling belly loud in his ears, he will keep chopping long as extraction turns a dime, till the hills are bare and the soil is dry. 2. ICE receives training tactics from the IDF, but the IDF trains with the US Marines. No surprise. Like how the Nazis studied the treatment of Native Americans, of American Africans, Americans studied the subjugation of the Irish, which was first practiced on the English by the other English, the noble English, who found they had less in common with the commoners than with capital, enclosing what had been a common good into private property and making public what had been private, killing the midwives and calling them witches, a state-sanctioned genocide of those women who could influence the flow of life, recruiting all uteruses to keep reproducing now landless workers dislocated and displaced by the state to become foot soldiers at factories, early capitalism's burgeoning army. Even the subjects of empire living in the metropole are subject to that empire. 3. Redwoods redistribute water to the surrounding forest to protect themselves against fire. The lick of flame on birch or brush can grow to lap up even the wooden giants. The mycorrhizal network, fungi in the forest floor, delivers fuel from broadleaves to conifers, peeling off a payment along the way. Lichen are colonies of hybrid beings, algae and fungus at once. Like us, bacteria eat the food we eat inside our own intestines, a service we couldn't survive without. 4. Resistance isn't something you do to restore your humanity. Help someone in need. Do a good deed. Resist because empire also subjects you. Because the toppling of any dictator
from a TSA agent to the American presidency makes you more free. Resist, because foreign forests' liberty is part and parcel with your own. Resist, because every olive tree holds back the desert, and the more water we hold collectively, the safer the forest whole will be.
Thank you so much, Anna. That was incredible. I'm obsessed with you. All right. The last person in this block, our fourth block, is someone who needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce her anyways. This is Fee, also known as FM Papas. Yes, everyone, woohoo! Is a Greek-Australian writer, editor, educator, and translator living in Brooklyn, New York. Her poetry has been published in literary magazines and anthologies across Australia and the United States, and she is now the Director of Client Services at the Poetry Society of New York. Please welcome FM Papas.
Thank you so much, Tova. Thank you so much, Andrew. Shout out all the friends in the room. It's just such an honor to be here. I can't even put it into words. I'm wearing a shirt that is a rally cry from Australian Black Lives Matter movements. It's always was, always will be Aboriginal land. And I come from a country built on genocide. I came from a Greek immigrant family who were also fleeing war-induced poverty, and I came here to America. And so it's been an interesting time to be working on a thesis, grappling with what assimilation means and what I don't want to assimilate to. So this poem I actually originally submitted to the Anthology is a cento, but then I also had a crossword, and Andrew was obsessed with crosswords, so he was like, forget that, I want the crossword, but I can't read you a crossword, although it could be really interesting to try. So I'm going to read you the cento, which is a patchwork poem. Funnily enough, when I wrote it, it begins and ends with an image from a poem called 4th of July by Rob Arnold, who's the executive director of Poets House, and I never thought I'd be reading it at Poets House, so that's pretty cool. So it opens with Rob Arnold's words. It also has words from Nina Simone, Tracy K. Smith, the Declaration of Independence, Zaina Al-Sus, Janine Lane, Varsha, Saraya Shah, Beyonce, Cecilia Vicuna, and Rosa Alcala. It's called Playing with Fire, in parentheses, alone. America, you were childless, yet a child, holding fire in your hands, aiming your father's gun, waiting for its muzzle to flash. Here is a country. You were swarmed, and now you swarm, plundered, and now you plunder, ravaged, and you ravage still. You petitioned oppressions and sought redress, yet always now you oppress. And redress, allegiance to the flag was only the start, a promise. Here is a person. He has no papers, but digs holes in the earth, plants trees, buries his shadow. The country hates him. What a strange thing a document is, to tell the dirt it belongs to you. Here is liberty, gasping between light and dark, beneath the blood on the leaves for the disappeared. It's been said evil was invented to give us something to talk about. But how to speak if each syllable falls into the sea? How to speak if the syllables didn't fall but were thrown, taken captive on the high seas to bear? Silence or drowned words, no in between. Hope is a tax, and America, we are buckling under the invoice. America, you have a problem. You watch your people die, America. America, what you killed is haunting you. What you silenced is talking up at you. America, listen to your ghosts. America, you childless child, you were thrust into that secret dark where no one escapes, no one remembers, where you'll remain, in the end, frightened and alone, holding fire in your hands. Thank you.
I am unbelievably honored to introduce the first person of this block. This is somebody who is just responsible for my entire poetry career, and I am internally grateful for her and look up to her every day. This is the wonderful Jackie Bragé. Everyone please give a huge round of applause. Jackie is a Brooklyn-based poet and educator who serves as a chief creative officer and deputy executive of the Poetry Society of New York and managing director of the annual NYC Poetry Festival on Governor's Island and a bunch of other really cool things. Please welcome Jackie Bragé.
Thank you, Tova. I'm very tall. I'm just gonna go like that. Hi. How's everyone doing, by the way? I was just saying to Anna earlier how I'm not usually nervous. I think teaching has beaten that out of me a little bit, but the gravity and beauty of this space has proven otherwise. So thank you for humbling me so much. I would like to share Bazid's earlier sentiment of this orchestrated denial and insanity that is enforced upon us every day. That is our number one job given to us by the government, is to forget and be numb and complacent. And I think being in this space with all of you is the only sane thing to do. So thank you. Thank you to Andrew and Tova for putting together such wonderful anthology. And to Poets House, where I took my first poetry workshop ever. I won't say how long ago. Okay. This poem is called Unrest. From our bed, we dropped incalculable bombs. We were newly married and coiled like rings. White dog hair lifted and fell like shrapnel with each shake of our sheets. Mum petals dropped from our nightstand. From our bed, we faced the truth of our bodies. We assumed a shape of unearned luxury, sang songs of doom-scrolled admonishment, turned the world off, and revisited the next day. From our bed, we plucked olive trees from the earth, discarded their bodies in depressions of ash, stretched the river to the sea until it ripped down the middle. We asked how it could ever be repaired. From our bed, we pieced apart oranges, read memoirs with the windows open, watched leaves fall from their muscled limbs. We felt love and nothing like good. From our bed, peace brittled and unpromised itself. We mourned mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers, recipes, passports, photographs, and heirlooms, old letters, blankets, embroideries, and futures. From our bed, we starved the poor and fed the rich. Our shadows danced like two wicks. The broken world glowed across our faces. Night fell as though it wouldn't pick itself up again. From our bed, we closed our eyes. Thank you.
Let's give a huge round of applause for Jackie Bragé, everyone. Amazing. I am so excited to bring up next to the stage someone who I just met in person for the first time today, but I've known for like a year, I think, 2 years, I don't know. This is Maya Mateo Alexis, everyone, a Cave Canem Fellow and graduate of the Rutgers Newark MFA, whose scholarship focuses on Black romantic life. They're the author of A Shape We've Yet to Name and The Limerence Object. Please welcome the delightful Maya.
Okay, all I'm going to say is the video game referenced in this is Elden Ring. Today, I saw a dead body for the first time, though I suppose I only saw the shoes. A white sheet rested over the rest of the body like a cloud, settling over a low valley. 2 cops sat casually in a cop car nearby. One thumbed his phone. Last night, my beloved and I watched a video on how necropolitics bleeds into one of our favorite video games. Necropolitics, the sovereign power to decide which deaths matter. The body was out there on the ground, like it wasn't someone's body, like it didn't belong to someone, in a way no metaphor can spell. There was a single strip of caution tape, like an afterthought. The cops did not guard the body. It was too cold outside. They did not protect the body or serve the body or make sacred a body. No one was crying. I felt like crying because no one was crying. There were people who had loved that body, a body that dreamed of other bodies to be close to and to stay away from, a body wearing Timbs or knockoffs so good I couldn't tell the difference. There was still blood in the body. It was just sleeping. On God, on my way to work, a galaxy died across the street, and the cop just scrolled his phone with one vulgar thumb. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maya. I love that poem so much. All right, next up we have the lovely Diana V. Cruz, everyone. Diana Cruz is a scholar, poet, and former English professor whose work on Read a Dove has appeared in Callaloo and is one of the most wonderful people you'll ever meet. Please welcome Diana Cruz.
I'm so grateful to be here, and I don't know if I have the right to be, but I'm very comforted by all of your presence and by the poets. Thank you. When I was invited to write a poem for the anthology, and I want to thank Tova and I want to thank Andrew, I said, yes, and I'll start tonight. And I started writing right away, and I came up with a draft, but I wasn't sure it was finished. And so I went to the Africa Center in Harlem, and there was an exhibit there of Sudanese photographers. And I looked at the photographs, and I thought, definitely not finished. So if you look in the anthology, you'll find this picture, and this is one of the photographs that my poem responds to. Andrew wrote the photographer naturally and got the rights and permission to include it in the book. And it haunts me, and it will forever. And then there's another photograph of a beautiful little black girl, and she is sitting in a sea of red chairs, and I think she's wearing red too. So you'll hear me respond to those photographs, and the epigraph is by Dalia El Hassan. Pardon me. What still lives? At night sometimes, I imagine a Sudan that isn't disappearing, doesn't look splintered by the two Niles. The country where they both meet, hold the longest kiss in history. Dalia El Hassan. Who knows when or where it finishes? The poem, the day. Who might supply the line, the break? The boy vowing to avenge his brother's death? Or the girl, hands cupped at the mouth to ostensibly plug a howl, threatening exit? Night skin seared, sea of red chairs outlasting their guests, long departed, bellies empty. What persists fills the eyes, not turned skyward, but set, public facing. One black girl to another. We are an assembly. We are gathering pieces right now. Even more than what they have done, you will not be unseen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diana. I love an ekphrastic poem, and that's just gorgeous. I'm so glad that Andrew got the rights to that photo. Next up, we have Renia White. Please give a huge round of applause. The author of Casual Conversation, a Blessing the Vote selection chosen by Araceli Skirmay. Her work has appeared in the American Academy of Poets Poem a Day and the Slowdown Show. Please welcome Renia to the stage.
All right, can you hear me well? Awesome. I just want to look at you for a moment. It's good to see you. Thank you, Andrew and Tova. Thank you, all the poets gathered here, the Poets Plus. But also, ever since I've encountered a particular poem, I've carried the words of it with me by South African poet James Matthews. A simple request from a very tender poem he wrote while incarcerated. Think of me sometime. And while we gather, I'm hoping you don't mind, beyond us, taking a moment to think of our siblings who are behind bars, and or under-resourced to the degree that they could not be with us today. Those whose hearts align but simply did not have the freedom. Without alarm. Crisis me a working chariot. Tender me a song to guide it. Precious me a pail beneath my mouth. Always a star's ship I've just missed. Forever a brick I can't part with. Let me know it's raining, and I'll try my racket without alarm. Take my hand because you figure this world is as we know. Build a wish and put me inside. Once unarmed, unfold it.
Thank you so much, Renia. Gorgeous. So our final poet of the night is someone who I promise will leave you speechless. This is Venus Solomon. Everyone, woo! Venus is an anti-Zionist Jewish transsexual poet surviving in the core of American empire. Her work can be found on the bedroom walls of lovers and friends, and she is just, you'll see. Okay, please give it up for the wonderful Venus Solomon, everyone.
I don't know how you all do it, holding back your tears. I heard that Ocean Vuong cries at all his poetry readings. And I also played him in basketball a couple months ago, and we both have just a killer jump shot. So that makes two things in common. I guess poetry is three. I have two poems that I am blessed and honored to have in this anthology. I'm infinitely indebted to Andrew for selecting them, and Tova for birthing and midwifing and then parenting my entire poetic career. The first one is a love letter to my two friends who, God willing, will have a transgender wedding in Jordan this autumn. It's called Descend as Dusk, and the timing is perfect. Razi, though that might not be his name, though that might not be their pronouns, deliberates over the view, grins with alpenglow cheeks, points to the white ground with a hiking pole, and begins to write 5 letters. I can't make out his word on the mountain's face. We visit a frozen waterfall, a veil of a veil, the ice covering the spray, covering the great rock's secrets. Surely there are secrets. This river is as wide as the Jordan River, Rossi explains. The gap between their birth country and Jesus' baptismal site, that tourist spot reduced to a mall of the country refusing to let them enter, despite home, despite love, despite. They try to reject spite, fears it will destroy them. Missing that dear sweetness, we call Elijah in Jerusalem, who shares that his prayers are used as tools for violence, ancient tools, fresh violence. The fall shoots minerals into the piney air. The entire sky is breathing. This is our holy place, temples in every icicle. Maybe the divine is a secret. Rossi warns me of blasphemy, but I abandoned Abraham long ago. My God does not have chosen people. She has people. And today, one of her people loved me. There's no poetry when you're not around, Rossi tells me. So I write poems in the snow. The next and final poem of this collection is somehow, so graciously, the titular poem, I Feel Nothing Like Good. A title that as soon as I heard it, I exhaled with relief and I said, thank fucking God, someone else gets it. In the preface and in the conclusion, Tova remarks on the expression as an anthem, one that you're familiar with. I feel nothing like good. Self-pity, shame, fear. I don't think of the sentence that way at all. I heard it and I wrote 10 different poems, all called I Feel Nothing Like Good, all with the same opening line. I feel nothing like good, and thank God. I feel nothing like good, and thank God, because nothing is like good, so my soul must be alive and thrashing appropriately. Shouldn't poets be more than reductive? Reader, some of the taxes from this book will kill someone. Yes, this one. But what of cyprine or citrus? There's blood in those liquids too. Fear not your complicity, but locate the murderous mechanisms of your life. Liberation starts there. And look, someone is already working. Join them. Thank you so much.
Let's give it up one more time for Venus and for everyone who read tonight. Y'all, we just hit like 24 poets in 2 hours, which I think is pretty cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for gathering here. Thank you so much for giving your money. Thank you for giving your time. Thank you for all the poets in this anthology, both who are still here and who could not make it this evening. It has been oh my God, great timing. It has been the pleasure of my life to do this with one of my best friends in the world. So huge shout out to Andrew Elias Colarusso over here. Thank you so much to Poets House. Thank you to the Poetry Society of New York. Thank you to the Samir Project and to SAPA for all the incredible work that they do. We have a hard out at 9, as in everyone has to get the fuck out of here. But for the next 30 minutes, if you would like to sign each other's copies, buy a copy, get a tarot reading, get a typewriter poem, get some honey, we would love that. And, or keffiyeh. Oh, that's fun. Great. Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much. And Andrew, do you have any last words?
Love you all so much. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you, Tova. Shout out to you. And I hope to get to say a good night to each of you tonight. So,
thanks, everyone. Have a great night.